Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to talk about technically not really the last launch because there's one more EC that is going to come up in December period. But if you look at the private project, this should be the last launch of the year and none other than the Sand. Actually, I talked about the Sand in August before with my partner Eunice. So we describe it as one of the potentially probably a dark horse because it's a second cheapest land bid in the era of 2024 land bid, attractive land bid prices. So let's see what it transpires today because I get a bit more information from the developer. I also get the starting from price, which is actually quite surprising versus what I have expected. So what can we have to address this elephant in the room lah. So obviously the starting from price is a bit higher than expected. So what can we transpire from that? What can we see from that? I think that's what's most important. And of course, I'll take you through my standard analysis. And this time around, I also can offer you comparable alternatives that you can consider, or if you want to have a discussion with me, feel free to reach out to me. Okay, so let me carry on for today's discussion. Come on. Number one I'm going to talk about is quick site plan analysis because the last time I don't really have a chance to talk about the site plan. There's not much information out. This is only out last couple of weeks. Okay, then of course I will go through my recommended layout types. And number three, my pricing analysis, how I look at the price, what is my deduction. And then number four I want to talk about is why I don't recommend the Sand. And number five, finally, is why I recommend the Sand. So this is my take. I hope my analysis can help you to have a greater clarity or makes more sense for you for this project. Okay, first of course, let's have a quick site plan analysis. We can look at the location map. If you follow me through my previous video in August, it's actually quite interesting. It's on the left after Upper Bukit Timah Road, along the old Jurong Road. You turn left again, you'll reach the Sand. Previously, it was also mentioned that it's also an old secondary school site that is being converted. Key thing to take note about this land plot is that the plot ratio is slightly higher. So technically, the Sand is at 10 story, whereas comparatively, anything else at District 21 along Jalan Jurong Kechil, that road, which is also a kind of like a landed enclave, right? It is up to a level of 5 or 6 if I'm not wrong. Okay, so of course my direction, my location map also show you the Hume MRT station, which I will talk about it later part, as well as Beauty World MRT station. But what I think the key point, or what drew the developer, or what the developer want to sell to the people over there, is actually the unblocked nature view that is right at your doorstep, namely Bukit Batok Nature Reserve, which is fronting the Sand. And on the right side, you also have the Bukit Timah Nature Reserve. So I think it's not easy to get a land plot in such an attribute. Then again, of course, there are also comparables like condos in Hillview as well as Dairy Farm, because they are also being flanked around by the Bukit Timah Nature Reserve. Okay, so if you look at the site plan analysis, on the actual site plan, finally we have see, I think the developer did quite a good job in terms of creating the block to block distance. In terms of, it feels like this condo is not too dense. It doesn't feel, there's pockets of spaces. So I think if you are a owner over there, resident over there, you can actually feel that it's a quite overused word, livable, but actually you can feel that also you can see that there is also the the wind channel that is being created between the parallels of the two blocks, namely 222, 224, 226, and then right opposite 230 and 228. Okay, so right in front where I mentioned earlier, 222, 224, and 226, they are facing the Bukit Batok Nature Reserve. And of course, you can imagine, which I'll talk about later also, where will be the most expensive stacks gonna be at. Okay, then on the right side, okay, if you follow on the clockwise direction, right, there will be a future road next to the tennis court area, which is a future D'Souza Avenue. Okay, because on the right side of this is also another piece of vacant land, and I think that would eventually form another condominium in the future, but who knows? No announcement yet anyway. Okay, so right behind, which is where block 230 and 228 residents with that frontage, you are also facing a future plot. And beyond that future plot, then comes Verdure, which is a low-rise development. So in hindsight, I feel that if you are choosing a unit that is on a higher floor at 230, say for example level 6, 7, 8 up to level 10, right, I think you will have quite a nice view towards Verdure, as well as the landed enclave in front right down to Beauty World. Okay, so also want to highlight that there is quite interesting, there's two pools in the middle, and I think the developer, to me, after looking at the show flat, which I believe most of you, if you are watching this right now, you can view the show flat already. I think the developer did a good job in the landscaping, in the way they arranged the foliage. So I feel that this condo really helps to create a kind of you know, you want to come back, you want to chill, want to relax, and yet you also have very good vantage points because of the height of the condominium. And interestingly, also it comes with a childcare in this condominium, which of course is the direction of the developer. I guess they are going for something that is more family oriented, because later we discuss about the unit type as well. The starting from, even though they have 1 bedroom, but there's only 1 stack, remaining is 2 bed, 2 bath, 2 plus study, 3 bedroom, and very big 3 and 4 bedroom. Later we could see. Okay, so having mentioned that, so talking about the layout types, right, there are certain recommended layout types that I'm going to discuss and also draw some comparison between the different layouts lah. Okay, number one we're going to talk about is 1 bedroom, and it's really quite rare lah. Frankly speaking, if you look at the past few launches, right, in my memory, if I recall correctly or well, in the OCR area, Springleaf only has 8 units of 1 bedroom. Then Canberra Crescent, I think there's only 3 units of 1 bedroom. So nowadays developers doesn't want to do so much 1 bedroom, and also probably fall into the URA ruling of the 85 square meters that they use to count the number of units. So that per se helps to create more units that are right size, that are well livable for people to consider. Okay, so having said this, coming back, yes, 1 bedrooms is very rare. So if you are looking for a 1 bedroom in Hillview area, in Dairy Farm area, or if you are looking for to be somewhere near Beauty World, but you don't want to afford that kind of premium at Beauty World, then I think the sand is something that you can consider. And one more key thing to highlight about the 1 bedroom, right, is actually quite interesting, because most of the 1 bedrooms, they tend to be in between the units, like 2 bedroom, then they put the 1 bedroom in the middle. But the sand, right, the developer actually put it to the corner of the corridor, which means you're getting a corner unit for 1 bedroom. And I feel that is really quite a selling point, because it is very rare that you have a 1 bedroom, the master bathroom, even though it's a very small feature, right, it has a window for you to have natural ventilation, which means to say if you open up your master room, the window, you can draw wind through the master room window all the way through to your bathroom, which is very rare. And this helps to create, it's added really as a good selling point to most people, because it actually helps to ventilate or help to make the house a bit more, trying to think of a better word, but yeah, ventilate the house better lah. So I think this is one key point that I feel, if not, the rest of the sizes of the master room, or of the 1 bedroom is quite a cookie cutter. You have seen it before: walk-in, galley kitchen, dining, living area, then the balcony. And master room size 11 square meters, quite okay, right size. You can still fit a bedside table if you want to. Okay, so that's for the 1 bedroom, not so much of a focus. Let's look at the 2 bedroom layout comparison. I would say that the developer done an interesting job in only creating 2 bed, 2 baths. Okay, and there's 3 different layout types. So now I also learned along the way that at a 6, 7, 8 square feet, 2 bed, 2 bath, you can create 2 different layouts. You can have one with the enclosable kitchen, with a window in the kitchen and window in the bathroom, versus the typical 6, 7, 8 square feet galley kitchen when you come in. Okay, and then the bathroom are all mechanically ventilated because the unit are being smack in the middle of 2 other units. Okay, so if you ask me, as a comparison, of course, if budget permits, I'm sure the developer will load some premium on this kind of, on the B1 layout. Okay, so if budget permits, you don't mind paying a bit of the premium, I think B1 would be my choice out of the 2 bedroom layouts. I will steer clear from B3, 732 square feet, basically because of the long foyer that we're going to expect when you walk in. So that long foyer space, right, yes, some salesperson might tell you that you can do up a closet area, you can do up a shoe cabinet, you can do up some carpentry work. But in hindsight, I feel that it is quite unnecessary, and it will pose some challenges in the resale market for sure. So I will steer clear from B3. I'll continue to fixate myself on B1. If not, B2 might be an option because come to think about it, if you see the past 10 years of TOP 2 bedrooms, they are all galley kitchen, open concept kitchen. So there's nothing too different from that. And also the bathroom typically are mechanically ventilated, so it doesn't really matter. What matters the most, I guess, is of course your entry price or your affordability, because this will translate to future buyers in the future. So this will be my comparison for the 2 bedrooms. I want to draw a distinct comparison also between the 2-bed plus study and the 3-bedroom layout. So if we were to look at why this 3-bedroom layout in the sense is creative or interesting, because they have this 872 square feet unit. So 872 square feet unit, if you were to look at it, you probably has not seen this layout in the resale market, or at least the number of condos that I visited in the past 10 years, I never see this dumbbell, Chinese call it 哑铃式. So this dumbbell feature of a layout, whereby when you enter, you have an open concept kitchen, which is kind of like a L shape, so that it creates a division. They interestingly created a home shelter or utility on the left, which is very useful. Your 3rd bedroom is on the right side, okay, just behind your bedroom 2, and your, of course, since the dumbbell shape, the master room is on the left side, depending on which stack you choose lah. Okay, so I want to highlight this because it actually looks very similar to it's like an extended version of the 2 plus study. Okay, and I just want to highlight to people that are looking at or consumers that are looking at the 872 square feet unit type, right? I also mentioned to one of my clients also, just take note that the bedroom 3, this window would be not too big, I suppose. And when you look out this window, it faces the wall of the adjacent unit. This is how then they can create a window in such a format. If you can go to the site plan, you can actually zoom in and roughly see. So I think bedroom 3, what is the drawback is that it will not be very bright lah, per se. You for sure need to turn on light, especially on a cloudy day or a rainy day, even though it's daytime. That's number 1. Number 2, of course, is having the dining area in the middle of the house next to bath number 2 is never try and never test before lah. I don't foresee you having a 6-seater described here in the middle of the house. Likely, eventually, you'll put your dining in the balcony area instead. So this draws me to a 2 plus study, because if you compare the size of these 2 layouts, one is 775, the other one is 872. They are almost 100 square feet difference. And since we all know the starting from price is 22,000 PSF, right? So 2200 times almost 100 square feet difference. We are talking about these 2 layouts, price difference almost 200,000. I think this 200,000 price difference, right, will present a very big opportunity for buyers, or in favor of buyers who are looking at the 2 plus study, because anyone that has seen the 3 compact might also go and look into the 2 plus study layout, because it's actually pretty much quite similar. Only concern is that the kitchen area, of course, is a bit narrower lah, as compared to the 3-bedroom, and you don't have a additional utility or storeroom. So if you value the utility or storeroom, then you don't mind having your dining table in the middle, and you are okay to pay 200k more, then I think the 3-bedroom compact might be the one for you. If not, keep an open mind. I think the 2 plus study is actually quite an interesting layout, and that should serve small families as well. That two adult, 1 kid probably still can. 2 adult, 1 kid and a helper. The helper can probably rest in the study. Your study can also convert it into the utility store. So I think there's quite a bit of flexible usage for the study area in the 2 plus study. Okay, so this is how I look at for the 2 plus study and the 3-bedroom compact. In fact, my recommended layout for the 3-bedroom, right, is actually straightforward. Zoom in the 936 square feet unit type. It has almost everything. Can't say everything. It has almost everything that the upgrader family needs and require, and it will fit quite a big pool of family type audience of future resale buyers. Why do I say so? Number one, when you enter, of course, there's a bit of a walkway foyer area, but that also helps to create some privacy when, for example, a delivery guy can't really look into your living room per se or your kitchen per se, and you don't enter straight into your kitchen, which some people doesn't like. Okay, so when you enter into your kitchen, you have a window in the kitchen so they can ventilate the kitchen space. Number two is that you have a utility or a flexible room right next to the kitchen that can be a store, that can be a helper's quarter, that can also double down as a work from home study area maybe. But and most importantly, this utility, now that I realize, it also comes with a window. So essentially this room can be converted to a flex kind of room, okay, which is not present in, for example, if you look at Verdale at below 1000 square feet, right, you don't have this layout. So I think this layout will champion in the resale market if you compare to Verdale. If I'm not wrong, Daintree probably also don't really have below 900 and below 1000 square feet this kind of layout or feature. Okay, so then we move on to the living space. If I don't recall wrongly, the living space should be around 3.2 meters width, which is quite generous per se. So you are not being shortchanged, you are not getting a narrower living room. And the rooms, if I also recall wrongly, they should be around 9 square meters. And the master room should be sitting at around 13 square meters. So essentially, you're getting quite optimized size. And most importantly, being optimized in size, that means your entry price also reasonable or optimized lah. You should be looking at around 2.1 to 2.2, high 2.3 for this layout over here. Okay, so this is, if you ask me, my recommended layout for the 3 bedrooms would be, of course, the 936 square feet. Why do I not recommend the bigger 3 bedroom layout? Basically because, number one, let's look at the 1109 square feet C3, right? When I look at it, or you can actually go to the show flat, and if you have been to the show flat, you realize that the foyer area is just simply too big and really quite not fully utilized at all. So it's quite a bit of turn off lah, especially in the resale market, but bo pian, no choice, they have to create this because it is actually tucked to the corner of the whole corridor ma. So since there's another unit on the right side, right, if I'm not wrong, it's a 2+ study, right, they have to create this corridor space so that they can push the whole unit to the corner of the block of the floor level. Yes, correct. Okay, but of course, having a 1109 square feet, you will have a very nice wide frontage, living, dining, balcony space. So when you walk in, there will be a wow effect lah, you know, when you walk in, wow, you're living in a dining room, so wide, so nice. Okay, and of course your bedroom sizes wouldn't be shortchanged. In fact, if you have the budget for 1109 square feet, right, why not look at the 1259 square feet 3+ study? I think this would be a very nice upgrade for people that are looking for something more than 1000 square feet, and maybe for people that don't want to pay the, like I said, don't want to pay the premium at Beauty World, at Reserve, at BT, and Link maybe, or even Link, they probably can't find such a big unit type possibly, because if my memory is good, Link just focus on very small unit types. Okay, so in comparison, if you ask me, 3 bedroom, if you're going for the big one, we should be looking at the 1259 square feet. And comparatively, if you take the 1259 square feet versus the 4 bedroom layout, I think they also did quite a fair job in doing the 4 bedroom layout at the Sand. Okay, and it is actually quite comparable, because when I went to look at it's quite comparable when I look at the alternative projects that people can consider. For example, you have this budget of, I think the budget should be around close to $4 million already. So with this budget, if you go to Reserve, the layout for the 4 bedrooms at Reserve has a bit of an odd shape. One of the bedroom is a bit smaller, that can only fit a single bed. So that might not put you in a very nice position in the resale market, as compared to if you come to the Sand. But of course, the Sand also has its downside lah, even though it has such a nice floor plate, right? But the location is something that people must be able to accept ma. Because if they are looking at Reserve, they're going to 8 at BT, they're probably wanting to be 1 km to Pei Hwa, and also to enjoy the transformation that is directly happening at Beauty World itself. the integrated development, as well as the new hawker and community center that is going to come up in the next 3 years. Okay, so this, like, for this comparison, I think if you can look at the 3-bedroom 1259 square feet, then maybe you can calculate and see whether you can go for the 1453 for the 4-bedroom, even though I know that it's quite a stretch. Okay, but the developer choose to do such a big 4-bedroom, which is on contrary to what I have mentioned in my previous video, having seen so many OCR or RCR projects doing a bit more compact 4-bedrooms. Even Penrith 4-bedrooms are 1184 square feet, the biggest one being 1259 if I'm not wrong. And over here at the Sand is so much different, it's a 1453. And possibly also, come to think about it, developers maybe want to target the landed enclave that is right in front next to Verdale, those downgraders or right sizer, you know, they have been staying in a landed that is more than 2000 square feet. Now they want the right size, but they don't want to go too small. You know, they also want to keep some space for if their kids were to come back to stay with them, or if their kids are transiting houses, they have a space for them. So I think maybe these are the target audience that the developer is looking at. Okay, so having mentioned about the recommended layout types, next I want to talk about is my pricing analysis, addressing the elephant in the room. You know, when I did my first video, when I look at some of the my colleagues that did their video, when they do their projections, they are also and also comparing with the regular markups that has been done by the previous launches, right? We are looking at the Sand to launch at 2050 PSF or 2001 PSF, with not expecting the developer to have a starting from price at 2200 PSF, 100 PSF more than what 100 to 150 PSF more than what we have expected. So I think this also draws me to one thing lah. Okay, doesn't mean that the land bid price is low, developer will sell cheap. Then also, when I come to think about it, right, it's like we are trying to rationalize. I mean, you have heard some salesperson mentioning that because the Sand is in the RCR location, so if the developer were to benchmark to RCR City Fringe project, the Sand is actually quite cheap. But if you've been to the site, if you have drove there, you have passed by it, you have tried to walk from the MRT to there, it doesn't really feel like that much of a RCR project. It feels more like a OCR kind of project. Not sure how to describe exactly to you, but if you go on, you can ask me to go with you lah. More than happy to show you the show flat. But of course, when you have walk around, if you drive 2 traffic light down, you'll reach Bukit Batok Avenue 6, which is an OCR area. So I feel that maybe this is something that I myself need to reconcile with, because I already see it as more like an OCR project than an RCR project. So at OCR project, 2200 PSF, developer feels a bit bullish. It's like pricing for next year. Then again, of course, in hindsight, there are some good points to this. Not say everything is bad lah, for sure. Okay, and hopefully, of course, the developer can continue to stage up the price down the road, given that most people might be a bit apprehensive to come in at this juncture, right? So then, of course, that leaves the developer to have a buffer of remaining units. And from this buffer of remaining units, right, then it can help to create a bit of price staging moving forward in the next 3 years. Because we must always remember, and I think consumers might have forgotten, the developer don't have to sell everything on first day. They have actually another 3 to 4 years to sell finish. So what's the rush? Right, so I think that is what I learned in my 10 years of dabbling with real estate in Singapore. Okay, let's look at the price point now. I mean, starting from price for 1 bedroom is 993,000. Okay, 2 bedroom starting from is 1.499 clickbait. Okay, then 3 bedroom starting from 872 square feet, 1.936. Reasonable for our 3 bedroom, but when I look at the layout, not tested in the market, so I might not really look at this layout. Okay, 3 bedroom premium plus study is at 2.899. Expensive. Frankly speaking, I look at it, the 3 bedroom premium plus study, I think it's on the higher price point. Because if you look at if you really compare it with RCR project, at 2.899, I think you have really quite a bit of comparables in the other regions of that are really like a RCR, which I can show you, which I will talk about it later part also. I have brought out some comparables. Okay, of course, then we have the 4-bedroom premium at $3.34 million. So I think if you can go up to close to $3 million for a 3-bedroom study, right, might as well you just look at the 4-bedroom premium, because the 4-bedroom in reserve has already crossed, I think it's very close to $4 million. So I think that this, at least you are targeting the atas, the rich segment. Then I think you have a better chance of exiting from this group of resale buyers in the future. Okay, so I also highlighted what I feel is likely what you buy into at around PSF or 2,350, which means to say your 1-bedroom should be around $1.062 million. Your 2-bedroom, the layout that I recommend, 678, we should be looking at around $1.593 million, and that is excluding any premium that is being loaded between the B1 and B2 layout. Okay, the 2+ study, see, interestingly, if you choose the 775 square feet, right, it's $1.821 million. Compared with, which is almost 200k cheaper than the 872 square feet C1 layout 3-bedroom compact at $2.049 $200 million. Okay, and the one that I like the most, and I think is the most worth it to pay for, of course, is the 936 square feet C2. It is around 2.1, high 2.1, almost 2.2 to $2.3 million, depending on your queue number. Again, luck-based approach. Okay, I shall not mention the 3-bedroom premium because I'm not recommending that, and I will not I'll probably look at a bit like the 4-bedroom premium. Like if you can go up, you see, if you touch the 3-bedroom premium plus study, high end, you are close to $3 million. You know, then might as well you can touch the 4-bedroom at $3.341 million, right? If you're at that segment, what is another 300,000 more? Okay, I just feel like that lah. Okay, so this is my pricing analysis for the sand. Of course, I also come with at, say for example, you're already reaching $2.3 million kind of budget, right? Then what can you look at? What are the other alternatives in the market, for instance? Because technically speaking, like, you remember what I said, the sand don't really feel like much of a RCR project, RCR fringe, more towards OCR project. So once we reach this 2.3 to 2.4 million price point, okay, and probably you are looking at as an investment, because I think 2.3 is quite a common budget for some people in the investment segment, or $2.4 million. What about a 4-bedroom in the OCR? Okay, so I feel that if you can get bigger, that would be safer also. So for example, 4-bedroom at Canberra Crescent, also not too nearer than the send to the MRT. Okay, it is at $2.3+ million. You can get a 4-bedroom compact with everything that an upgrader family requires. Compact 4-bedrooms are quite sought after in the resale market, especially in the housing area. If you want to find out more about this, feel free to contact me. We can have a discussion on this. Next, if we look at a real RCR project as a comparable at around $2.3 million, let's not forget about Bloomsbury. Also not near the MRT, probably walk about 10-12 minutes. Better than the sand for sure, because the sand technically is 18 minutes. Okay, at $2.2x million, you can get a 904 square feet enclosed kitchen, 3-bedroom layout, and they of course try to market it as a plus study which I think is a bit like a gimmick, but it gives you extra space over at the study nook to do up as a storage. Okay, so this is what you can look at. If not, comparing with what I mentioned earlier, if you were to enter the 2+ study at around 1.8 million, you can actually get a 2-bedroom at Oriel. 2-bedroom, 2-bath at Oriel, which is a central city location, CCR, okay, at $1.8+ million. In fact, just above $1.8 million. And it is right next, it is considered within a mixed development. You are 5 minutes to Nicoll Highway MRT, and a lot of times when people don't want to move towards town area because they say food is expensive, but come on, let's face the fact, Nicoll Highway is just right across to Golden Mile Army Market. The food there is probably the cheapest in the whole of Singapore, and the food is absolutely, you won't get bored for sure. The only thing you need to fight is people queuing for the food with you. So I feel that these are some little, maybe some things that consumers might also overlook as more projects come up in the market, especially up to next year. So more than happy that if you want to have a discussion with me, you have a certain budget, you are comparing certain types of projects, we can do some attribute comparison, and then we try to detail which is the one that's most suited for you. Okay, so having mentioned that as a bit of a nugget for my viewers, okay, I like to continue on my pricing analysis versus the site plan, because now I realize that I can help my viewers in terms of trying to figure out where is the tier 1 prices, because there's always starting from price, then there's always the average price, then there's always the tier 3, which is the most expensive, the premium loaded, and maybe they will load the premium at the range of 3 to 5%, not bearing the per floor jump. Okay, so starting from price in purple, I would say likely would be block 230 and 228 because they are right next to a future plot facing towards Verdale. So if you are at ground floor you're at level 1 up all the way to 5, I think that should be the cheapest unit types that you can find. Okay, in the next tier, which is the mid tier, maybe average PSF of 2003, 2400, I would say is the pool facing units. Because as I look at the show flat, the pool facing unit is actually quite impressive. You won't get the road noise from the old Jurong Road. Of course, you also won't get the road noise from Jalan Jurong Kechil, and you have a nice pool view, especially if you choose a low floor level, say 3-4. When you look down your vantage point, it's actually quite calming to say. But we cannot discount the fact that there are, of course, it's a family condo, so it might be noisy on the weekend. And finally, where the most expensive one, yes, you are all correct. Okay, it is likely at block 222, 224, 226, fronting the Bukit Batok Nature Reserve. Especially on the high floor, I believe once you cleared 5, you're on 5 all the way to 10, that should be where they will load the most premium, because that view is not going to change, it's unblocked. And also the level 10 is actually a loft, so the ceiling is almost double the story high. And I think that would be probably the most expensive unit in the whole of the Sand. So if you are a baller, you want to spend the most, pick, for example, stack 10, 11, 14, 15, level 10. Okay, and also a little to note that I also figure out that maybe stack 1 and stack 2, which is near the entrance, might also be the tier 1 pricing, because that actually faces the entrance towards the road along Jalan Jurong Kechil. Okay, so that is that for my pricing analysis. Thanks for following me through until this part. And finally, I'm going to talk about is why I don't recommend the Sand, and then I'll talk about why I recommend the Sand. Okay, so why I don't recommend the Sand. Number 1, not near the MRT station. I can expect most of the people that stay there are upgraders, or they probably drive, likely, high chance. Because when we try to walk, it is almost 18 to 20 minutes walk. It's not the easiest of the walk, because on a hot day it's going to be, there's no shelter, it's not sheltered at all. Most likely, highly likely, you have to time the bus if you are not driving. So when you come out, there's a bus stop right outside the main gate, and that is where it brings you down to Beauty World. And if not, you can take from the side gate. Okay, there's also a bus that brings you to Hume MRT station. So for consumers or resale buyers that are very MRT focused, they want to be within a 10 minutes walk or 12 minutes walk, stroll the max, then I think the Sand might not be something that they will look at. Okay, especially if they have kids going, they have school-going kids. They also don't want them to cross too much road, right? They want them to be as close, if best sheltered all the way to the MRT. Okay, so probably not so fantastic in such a sense. Okay, next is okay, of course, having to address talking about the high starting from prices. Okay, following what I mentioned, also similar markup from the past launches, likely to land the Sand at 2050 to 100 PSF. Okay, so having mentioned this, right, I feel that if you are own stay, you like that area and you want something new, and you want something not like Verdale, which is low rise and quite closely or dense to each other, right? Then maybe you can look at the Sen, because with a longer holding period, I guess we can accept that there are some profits that is being taken by a developer for launching at 100 PSF higher than what is expected based on their land bid prices. But also not surprising lah, because if you look at next year Dairy Farm, which is literally OCR in Hillview area, right? They're probably going to launch at 2001, 2200 PSF, given their land price is more than 1,000, slightly more than 1,000. So, I mean, as a developer, I also don't want to be shortchanged. Why should I launch cheaper when eventually I want to help you all to stage up the price and gradually move forward? So there is two takes to this. Nobody knows exactly how it will pan out, anybody's guess. We can only see at the actual launch day itself what is likely to happen. Of course, this would also transpire to the bigger unit types, as I highlighted here, especially the 109, 1259 square feet 3-bedroom. I think you'll put yourself in a bit of a risk because you're actually paying quite a top dollar lah, between 2.6 to $3 million. Really a bit of a future price for me when I look at it. Okay, so next is why I recommend the Sen. Okay, so I mean, price point aside, exit strategy aside, we also must make sure that the condo is somewhere that people want to live in lah. We cannot forget this very important part of a house ma. You know, it must be somewhere that people love to stay. They look forward to coming back home, and it's the size or the feature within the certain floor plan layout that fits their family. So I think the Sen did a very good job in creating this livable component that will help a lot of residents or make them feel like it's really home. Okay, so if you look at comparable, I would say it has quite a good block to block distance, as I mentioned at the start of my video, right? The way they place the blocks and then they allow the wind channel to come in. So I would suppose if you compare it versus Verdale, right? Actually, it feels like there is no way any form of wind channel can go through. And the blocks are quite can't think of a better word for that, but they are quite quite enclosed to one another. So it is actually very different. I think especially in the resale market, when buyers come in, they drive in, they walk up, they come and view the house, right? They walk through the pool area, they can actually see how widely spaced the blocks are being done at the Sen versus at Verdale. So I think in such a manner, the Sen will stand out, especially even if you compare to Dane 3. You can see that Dane 3, which is even though nearer, about 15 minutes walk to the MRT station at Beauty World, but the blocks are again arranged in quite can't say cluttered lah, you know, must give a benefit to the architect, right? But that was the design back then, and it feels like they are all your neighbors are really closely knitted together. So if you compare it with the Sen, I think resale buyers, when they come and see, they can really feel the difference. So this is one thing I feel the Sen has, and we shouldn't overlook it too much, as it helps to contribute to buying signals for future resale buyers. Number two is, of course, being the tallest and the newest condo in D21. Can't say, okay, maybe not the tallest, because there is of course the Beauty World Center, the ABT Reserve. Let's not talk about those. Let's talk about those that are closer to the landed enclave, where they are different. They are about 5-story, 6-story versus the Sen, which is 10-story. And I have mentioned this before, height equals to profit. I think this concept applies to condos like Alta, Ori and River Green, and this gives buyers, especially in the resale market, confidence to offer slightly higher because they have seen transacted prices at a higher floor. So when they transact it and they can see it on the caveat itself, I think this allows them to understand that, okay, this price has been paid, there's people, then I think in the resale market it will move. Whereas compared to a low rise, you know, there's not much room for price staging or per floor level jump, so your PSF won't move too much, and that is where I can say that resale buyers might be a bit more apprehensive to offer more. Okay, so the sand, having said that, is 10 stories, and assuming per floor jump is at an average of 10,000 to 15,000. Okay, at the 5th story, it will be 50 to 75,000 difference. At the highest floor, which is 10 and it's a loft, so which means to say if you buy a level 2 unit versus someone that bought a level 10 unit, it might be as much difference as 150,000. And I think this will help to create confidence in transactions, especially in the future resale market. Yes, so these are the 2 reasons why I think, or rather I feel that I can recommend the sand. Thank you very much for following me through this content. I hope you enjoyed it and my analysis for the sand. So I feel that if you are someone that's, I feel that the sand is quite a livable condo lah, for sure. Having to see how the architect has designed or what the developer envisions this place to be. So if you are looking for a long stay or a long holding period, then I can say that the sand might be the one for you. Okay, so thank you very much everyone. Please continue to help me to like and subscribe to my channel. This will greatly help me or give me the motivation to continue to build this channel for everyone. Okay, and of course, feel free to reach out to me at my contact number 93881661. You can text me, you can WhatsApp me. I will be happy to go through with you a very tailored consultation where it will help you to generate clarity as well as to understand the fundamentals of Singapore property market. Okay, so thank you everyone for watching. I will see you in my next video. Yeah.